Welcome back to News Geelong. Geelong is set to share in a major $200,000 broadcasting and OH&S overhaul across a swath of Victorian racing clubs. Compliments of an initiative announced by Minister for Racing Dennis Napthine at the Geelong Racing Club last Friday. News Geelong spoke with the Minister shortly after the public announcement.
Just goes to show that you could only race here at Geelong today because of the synthetic track, which is great for Geelong racing and great for the Geelong community. And we're announcing here today part of a $200,000 package jointly between the racing industry and the Baillieu government to improve broadcast facilities right across country race clubs. And $21,000 of that will be spent at Geelong, providing permanent facilities for the broadcasters here so we get better quality vision and better coverage of the Geelong races right across Australia.
So the punters out there in the field will be able to undoubtedly hear and see much better coverage under what is already a good coverage.
We've already got good coverage, but this will make it even better. Having good quality facilities for the host broadcaster means that we'll be able to get a longer coverage, better coverage, and in weather like this, we can make sure the broadcasters are looked after and they can stand there longer giving good coverage of the races for Geelong, which is good for Geelong turnover and good promotion for Geelong. It really does help us sell Geelong as a racing centre, and Geelong is a great racing centre with over 40 meetings a year on the turf and the synthetic, and it's a great training centre, and this is really good for local jobs and the economy of Geelong.
Minister, we know you're a Geelong man at heart. Some other good signs happening in and around Geelong?
That's right. In the budget, a tough budget in difficult times, but Geelong did very well with a significant funding boost to expand the hospital, significant funding to build a permanent police, 24-hour police and SES centre at Warren Ponds, and funding to start developing a new railway station at Grovedale. So these are major investments into the Geelong community because we as a government recognise Geelong is a premier city in the state. It is an important area, growing population, and we want to grow regions like Geelong in the state of Victoria.
And one of the features of our local City of Greater Geelong budget from the Mayor was talking about Geelong being a city in transition.
That's right. Geelong has changed. I grew up at Winchelsea and went to school here in Geelong. And in those days, Geelong was very much a manufacturing city. And while manufacturing is still very important in Geelong, now Geelong has got a broader economy, a service centre. It is a centre for tourism, centre of access to the beautiful Ballerine Peninsula and the Surf Coast. So Geelong is a much broader economy, and there are greater diversity of job opportunities here in Geelong. And we as a government are very, very much promoting growing of population, jobs and the economy in regional Victoria.
Thank you, Minister Napthine. For the past 15 years, the Matthew Flinders Sweethearts have developed a unique perspective on a cornerstone of 21st century music that has infused their own compositions and arrangements as they prepare for a 5th tour of Europe in July, performing in France, Italy and Switzerland. Michelle Rimmer reports.
The Sweethearts are a school-aged girl band that showcase the abundance of young talent that we have here in Geelong. Their latest album, Red in Your Eyes, has recently been released. The Sweethearts are based at Matthew Flinders Girls Secondary College, and it is here that I am joined today by Ross Lipson and some members of the band.
Well, I've always had a really strong passion for music, and it's always been something I've loved ever since I was young. And it was something that I didn't actually really know much about it when I first even thought of auditioning for it. So it was just kind of a bit of, I was just like, oh yeah, that'd be really fun to audition for, because I don't really mind auditions and stuff. And yeah, but it was just something that I was just like, oh, cool, that'd be fun.
Well, I actually didn't even know about the Sweethearts, so I really wanted to be in it. I remember Ross came to my classroom and he pretty much ordered me to audition, and a friend of mine, it was kind of like, oh, if you do it, I'll do it. And it ended up being the best decision ever. It's just taken my music so much further.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Good.
You would never know until you got in.
So what role do you play in the band?
I'm a lead singer.
And I'm a keyboarder in the band.
What do you enjoy most about being a member of the Sweethearts?
It's just such a good experience. You get to do gigs that you'd never be able to do with other bands. Like last week we had our annual fundraiser, and we're going to Europe this year. Like, how many bands get to go to Europe when you're like 15, I think. But yeah, it's just the best experience.
And like along with the music, there's just this sense of community within like the band. Everyone becomes like a sister by the end. Like truly, your whole friendship group is in the band.
So the Sweethearts were formed in 1989, and yet today they're still as fresh and exciting as ever. How has the group evolved over the last 2 decades?
Well, there's been many changes. I mean, initially we were just a school stage band and just playing pretty cheesy sort of stuff. But it's developed more and more lately because the girls, first of all, tour a lot more overseas. And secondly, they take a lot more creative control of the product. It's their arrangements, their original music. So I think that's the biggest change.
What makes the Sweethearts different from any other school band?
Well, they're pretty passionate about what they do, and our whole strategy puts them in the professional music industry, so it's a real life learning experience. They never do a gig unless it's for a reason, and usually it's a professional venue where they'll be playing.
At Matthew Flinders Girls Secondary College, Michelle Rimmer for News Geelong.
Thank you, Michelle. As we go to a break, we'll return with more sport and weather after this.